Hello, hello everyone. Welcome to another update. This time it's mid-season, beginning of 2017 update for how we are doing with Basingstoke's Rag to Riches. So you can already see we are sitting in second. Now, if you remember my preseason expectations, 19th, 20th, something like that, above Oxford City is all I was really going for. We have had a heck of a run, and that's evidenced actually in our nice little stats right here. In 30 games, we're 7th highest for offense, 4th best defense, and abysmal yellow cards. But I mean, we have Charlie Allen, we have Mark Ethelson. I mean, that's a large amount of them right there. Will Antwi actually just got a red card last game. So before this, we were like 14th in red cards or something, and now we're 6th because now we have 2. So it's rough. Also, one more thing to note: we are in the FA Cup, 3rd round against Newcastle, and we have 5 players injured right now. It's a rough time for the club. So the fact that we actually just won our last game is remarkable. But the lowest we've been so far this season is 3rd, and for a good stretch there, we were 1st. But let's go ahead and look at the actual schedule to look at this in a little bit more detail. So, jump back up to the preseason here. You guys saw the preseason, had a bunch of wins going into the normal season here, and that gave us some superb morale, max morale, going into the starting games, and that really carried into it. Lots of shutouts early on, lots of wins, and went undefeated until Forest Green actually took us down a notch here, being the second team to actually score twice on us in the same game, remarkably. And then Lincoln, 2 games in a row here, we were just completely shut out. We just didn't even score. It was rough. Walking was an amazing match. I love that. 4-1. But after suffering 2 losses, come back in a big way, 3-0 over York. It was amazing and awesome. Michael Chambers really, really key to the defense there. And honestly, Josh Barrett being really amazing. We'll have to go through and look at the players here in a little bit. Boreham Wood edged us out. We suffered a pretty bad injury to Mark Ethelson there, but he came back okay. Bromley, probably the most entertaining match this season. That or the Stevenage match down here that was very recent at a 4-3. A very, very awesome game. Chris Flood scoring all 4 goals. He made the team. Without Chris Flood, the rest of the team did terribly. So, really was a very amazing match. And almost gutting as Bromley scored in the 90th minute there. Went on another pretty good undefeated streak for a while, screeching out some draws and doing some pretty good stuff here in the FA Cup. We got Braintree, someone that's already in our league. We can take him out, and we did. And then we had Crawley, League 2 team. We got them on TV, $50,000 TV rights for that single match. It was amazing. We did end up scraping that one out at home. Thank you to home. With the winner coming in extra time. And then that, of course, has put us against Salford. Salford had a heck of a run. Now, Salford is a team that's in the Northern Premier, which is 3 leagues lower than the Vanarama National League that we're currently in, and 2 leagues lower than the league that you can actually play in. And they had a heck of a run there. They had second qualifying round, they beat Grantham, and then they beat Goole, Hednesford, and then they beat Notts County. They beat Notts County. Like, oh my goodness. They beat them 2-0, getting TV rights to that match. This is another League 2 team, and they did amazingly against them. And then they held us off, which is remarkable in of itself, considering that we have just an amazing offense here and a superb defense. But we were able to come back and beat them 3-2. So this Salford team was very strong, very scary, and they did a very good job. Unfortunately, Pio suffered a short injury there, but he made it back okay. In the FA Trophy, our first match was against Sutton, and it went straight into extra time. Then Muko went ahead and fired away 2 and took us home there. Again, that's super exciting Stevenage match that just happened. And we're coming off of a 2-0 win over Cheltenham and a 1-0 win thanks to an own goal from Braintree. Now, pay attention to how this roster is changing over here. As I've clicked through all of these, notice how this roster has changed over time. Really kind of reflects the injuries and suspensions of the situation. We didn't deserve to beat Braintree. They were no better than we were, but we ended up beating them because of a brilliant mistake by Harding, and that really brought us home here, and I'm really happy about that. Just happened today. Our third round matchup, we are against Newcastle. I'm expecting a heavy loss, just like the Arsenal game, although, again, this is not Arsenal, so it's not going to be as bad, but it'll probably be bad, and I'm really hoping we can score a draw here. Now, granted, we're going to be playing at Newcastle, so we're going to get a bunch of money just by going to Newcastle. We're going to get paid a bunch in ticket price. But if we can get a draw against Newcastle, we will definitely get TV rights for the next match, which is worth a lot of money for this tiny club. $50,000 is a lot of money for this club. So if we could score a draw against Newcastle, that would bring us home in terms of financial gain. It would sell us out, 6,000 strong crowd, and it would give us the TV rights. And that's what I'm hoping for. FA Trophy, our second round matchup, is against Forest Green. Just after we played them, 3 days after we play them, we'll play them again. Away and then home, and that will be rough. It'll also be a chance for revenge against Forest Green. We're still going to have 4 players out at the time, though, so we're sitting pretty bad, but we will hopefully be able to pull it all together. So we go and look at the squad here, jump into tactics. Let's go and take Antwi out. If you're looking at tactics here, you can see everyone that I have. So if you're playing along here, you can see the people I've grabbed and people I've dumped. 2 key players here. Wilfred Nahor from the Ivory Coast, 21 years old. You can find him from Hemel Hempstead, I believe is actually where he starts in this game. Hemel Hempstead he comes from. And he doesn't cost much of anything. $150 per week is his contract. Go ahead and look at his contract in full here, but this guy, I offered him key player status at $150 per week. Now, this is nothing compared to what our key players get paid. Our key players get $1,900 per week. This guy wanted $180 starting, and I negotiated it down to $150. Like, this is a steal. Find Wilfred Nahor and get him because he is solid. He is so good. So he's performed very, very well for us. An average rating of 7.06. And in the FA Cup, a 6.9 out of 1 game. He had a great debut and has played great ever since, with the best match in the last 5 being an 8-3 and a 7.1 last time out. So that's probably the number 1 to pick up. Number 2, Josh Barrett is another player. Pick him up from Reading. He is pretty key to what we've been doing, as you can see, especially for the FA Cup. So in 2 appearances, he scored 3 goals with an 8.35 average rating and overall 6.92 average rating. He's done very well for the club. And does his contract actually expire with Reading? Next year it expires with Reading. Okay. So we won't be able to pick him up this year. I don't know if I want to. He is a bit injury prone, as I've noticed. Yeah, he basically had an injury. He came back. The very next game, he got another injury. It was bad. He's fighting. He's trying to not get injured. I'm trying to get him to not be injured. He is, of course, playing instead of Magali in the next match. Those are the 2 big ones. If you can pick those 2 up, your team's going to be a lot better off. Our strikers have not done super well. You can see Liam and Muko both sitting at 9 goals apiece in 24 and 20 outings. Not doing great. Pio We picked him up. I don't recommend him. I really don't recommend picking up P.O. 18 games, he's scored 5 times with an average overall rating of 6.6. The problem is my other 2 strikers are out. My other 2 strikers are injured. Liam's injured for 5 months. He's done for the rest of the season. And Muko is out for the rest of January. So I have to play P.O. every single game, and that's it's getting rough already. Luckily, we have other people that can kind of play striker, like Chris Flood, Luke Rooney, and Lewis Wilson. But P.O.'s the dedicated striker, and that's why we keep playing him, because he still does better in the striker position than Chris Flood or Rooney would. Should be noted, though, our number 1 goal scorer is, of course, Chris Flood. I believe he was there last season or in contention last season for being our club's best goal scorer, and he's again performing, basically setting the standard for what it means to be an offensive player in this team. He really is doing very, very well for us. Let's get rid of Joe Anderson here. He's not doing super great. So yeah, Chris Flood, he's just rocking it for us. I don't know what it is about him, but he has been kicking butt, and it's been working great. So our tactics have not changed from last season. Opposition instructions, we're training on this, but we don't actually start like this. Lots of captains lined up. Set pieces are default. It says routine 1, but they're all just default. So for those of you that are trying to figure out how to play better, sorry, I don't have a whole lot I can honestly say for what I'm personally doing. But I can say, if you're playing as many games as we are, and you look back at how tight some of these matches are, I mean, we're talking the 2nd to the 31st, to the 28th to the 26th, right there, 4 matches in a row. If you're playing matches this tight, just tell your guys to rest. For the entirety that they will be playing matches, tell them to rest, because they're not going to be able to play if they're really, really tired. So I'm trying to keep everybody okay, and it's rough. It is rough, and that's partly where all the injuries are coming from. They're almost exclusively in the match, so they're really tired in the match. They get injured. It's pretty bad, but I'm trying my best here. We've got 5 people out injured and 1 person suspended for this Newcastle match, and it's bad. But this is because we've been playing a lot of matches, so hopefully this won't affect us too badly. Obviously, it hasn't. We've had some pretty bad injuries here in the last couple games. The Stevenage game in particular was nasty. We lost our goalkeeper and Muko. But we've been taking lots of injuries recently and lots of cards recently, and we're still doing okay, largely because our opponents have been bottom of the table. Let's go and look back at the table here. For the VNL, actually, let's look at it in a little more detail. We can go to Basingstoke, VNL. If you look at the VNL here, you can see that we were actually playing against people that were in the bottom half of the table for our last several matches. So it actually favored us despite all of the different injuries and cards we were getting. We actually ended up taking some easier competition, which was nice. Absolutely kept things nice and easy for us. As terms of good players, player stats, we're doing okay. We're not doing great. There's nothing special here to really be noted other than, of course, Allen and Ethelson really leading the yellow cards here. Chris Flood rocking pretty good players of the match. You're sitting at 5 right there. It's fighting for first there for player of the match. But Chris Flood's carrying the team. It really is. And Antwi on red cards. With, was it Allen? Probably. Yeah, Allen. Charlie Allen's really bad about his cards, but he does pretty well otherwise. Should also be noted, Will Antwi is retiring. I'm not even going to try and stop him from retiring. He's retiring. He's not getting game time here, and he doesn't want to go lower, so it's fine. I'm not overly concerned about it. He's not super great. He's just kind of there to fill the gap. That's why I haven't ditched him. I had the opportunity to mutually terminate his contract, and I said, no, we might get into an injury crisis, and I'd rather have Will Antwi than someone from the youth team. And lo and behold, we had to use him. So I'm glad I held on to him there. But Michael Chambers, amazing. Chris Flood, amazing. Matty Wishelow, really rocking it up as well. Pretty awesome guys. So not much else left to say here. Let's actually go back forward into... I'm just clicking the wrong places now. Go back into the VNL. So we're going to go and do a quick mid-season look-see at the different leagues. So we'll actually start at the FA Cup. So these are the teams left in the FA Cup for the third round. For the Capital One Cup, we are in the semifinals. These are the teams that are left there. Community Shield won by Arsenal. Johnstone's Paint Trophy. Blackpool versus Port Vale in the North Final. In the South Final, we have Southend versus Swindon Town. The FA Trophy. These are the current teams involved. And let's jump back up to Vanarama South. So in South, Ebbsfleet dominating. Truro is the big one here, finishing 4th last season, now fighting desperately for relegation. Kingstonian doesn't even stand a chance. They're gone. They're done. Who will get relegated? Place your bets now and wait for the next episode to come out, because then you'll know. But Ebbsfleet really rocking it here, so I'm sure Ebbsfleet's going to come up next season. And I think we're not going to go down next season. And the north side, we have Lowestoft dominating. Brackley probably not going to make it. Honestly, the 3 teams that are in the relegation zone right now are probably done for. I'm not really seeing this huge point gap huge point gap right here. I'm not going to see that get make up. No way. Not going to happen. VNL, Tranmere, sorry. Tranmere is rocking it. Now, they have fallen from grace. Over the past decade, they have fallen from grace. They fell down last season, finished 7th, disappointingly, going from League 2 to here. Actually, dropping from League 1, getting relegated to League 2, falling down from League 2 into VNL. But they are holding on to it this season as they are rocking it in first place. Nobody can stop them. We've not had a great time against them ourselves. And with a 30 goal difference, I don't see anyone beating Tranmere. That's just not going to happen. Torquay is doing pretty good here, sitting in 3rd. But we have a comfortable 4-point lead over 3rd place. So I told the board we're aiming for mid-table. Preseason expectations was to avoid relegation. And then they asked in January, just a couple days ago, it's like, hey, do you want to change your expectations? And I said, yeah, sure. Mid-table. If things go south, mid-table is pretty safe. They offered top half, but I said mid-table here. It's like, you know what? We'll just moderately increase it. If we end up fighting in the playoffs, that would be amazing, but unexpected, and we really wouldn't deserve it. We really wouldn't deserve it if we ended up in the playoffs. So, Torquay, hot on our tail. They have been most of the time. Forest Green. Chester is the big one here. Chester has been very scary. They were right behind us, and the last couple games they've had have been very rough on them, as they've just suffered a series of losses right here since mid-November. It's just been a horrid series of losses, and that's not even against good nor bad teams, although they got some pretty bad matchups here. Tranmere in the FA Trophy, and then Tranmere again right here, but they're a scary team. Chester's a very scary team, and I believe they will be back up in the playoffs in no time. They're very powerful, second best offense or defense in this case. They really deserve to be in the playoffs. So if they don't make it back up, it will be amazing. Also, Eastleigh really deserves to be back up as well. Braintree, Forest Green, and Torquay have all been fighting for that 5th place spot, with Chester and Eastleigh fighting with us, Basingstoke, for 2nd and 3rd. Forest Green, Torquay, and Braintree have been fighting for 4th and 5th. And as of late, Chester and Eastleigh have really fallen. So hopefully we will remain up top here. Solihull Moors going down, no question. Guiseley going down. But Stockport, Macclesfield, they're fighting. And Oxford City, they're doing a really solid job. So we'll see how it all pans out here. We'll see how it all works out for Oxford City. Let's go ahead and jump up to League 2. I've been enough time in that one. AFC Wimbledon, our parent club, and a club that I am personally a fan of because they had their club stolen from them. Sitting in 9th. Crawley, the team we ended up beating in the FA Cup, I believe it was. We only were able to beat them because they're a relegation-threatened team, and that actually worked out quite nicely for us. Wrexham going down is most likely this season. Oldham, Portsmouth, and Yeovil. I have no idea if I'm saying that correctly, but those three look like they're doing pretty well. Portsmouth, good to see them in promotion contention again. They're another team that has really fallen from grace. If you look at Portsmouth's history, they really have fallen from grace. They used to be a premiership side, a strong championship side, and through a series of unfortunate events, if you're interested in the story of Portsmouth, I sincerely hope you go look it up on Wikipedia. They have a very interesting story. Very sad story, as you can tell. But if you can get Portsmouth to get promoted again, they're going back up to League 1, and I think they'll do okay in League 1. We'll see what happens. As for contention here, really goes as far down as 9th. AFC Wimbledon could end up in the playoffs here with Chesterfield, Cambridge, Shrewsbury, Plymouth, and Notts County. We'll see what happens come the end of the season. As for relegation threatened, that goes up to 21st. Exeter, Barnet, and Crawley all really fighting hard for it. Wrexham, I don't see recovering anytime soon, but we might get us a little surprise. League 1, Barnsley and Luton are fighting for that top spot. 1 point difference. Very, very closely fought 1st through 3rd there. Doncaster, Leyton Orient, Brentford. Actually, really, Doncaster, Leyton Orient are in their own little area. So really, it's 1st through 3rd, and then 4th and 5th. And then Brentford is fighting for 6th, all the way down to 11th with Swindon Town. You might want to include Walsall in there since they have a positive goal difference. But the 6th place, wow, tongue, brain, fail. 6th place is certainly not guaranteed right now, but it does look like Leyton Orient and up are all fairly safe. Swindon, also a town I'm a fan of, thanks to the Vlog Brothers. Check them out on YouTube. They're pretty cool. YouTube.com/VlogBrothers. As for who's going to get relegated, threatens all the way up to 17th. And nobody is a clear loser at this point. Port Vale's in last, but they might not get relegated. So we'll see what happens. Sky Bet League 1, very, very close. Very interesting to watch how this plays out. This is the league to watch here. This will be very interesting. I look forward to seeing it at the end of the season. The championship. Blackburn, really looking for promotion, but fighting against Crystal Palace and Southampton, 2 premiership sides. We'll see what happens there. That's rough. Blackburn's doing well, though. Leicester sitting in 45 points for 4th, fighting pretty hard against down to 8th place here. You can say all the way down to 11th as well for fighting for 6th, but 8th place for fighting for this 4th place position. Reading, our parent club, not doing super great, but can't really blame that on us. We didn't take anyone interesting from them. The Dons are fighting for relegation, with Birmingham and Colchester actually looking to get relegated this season. That's rough. Isn't Colchester a League 1 team, though? Like they were just promoted, so they're doing as expected. Birmingham, I thought they were a solid championship team. They are a solid championship team. A little bit of up and down, but otherwise a solid team. Once fighting in the Premiership. They have fallen a little bit from grace this season. They are not doing super great, but we'll see how it all plays out. Wigan, the winners of League 1, doing okay for now. So, again, we will see how this plays out. It's not quite as hard fought as League 1, but up through 20th is relegation threatened. So, it'll be interesting to see how this all happens. We'll see if Blackburn can hold on. Last but not least, in the Premiership, Chelsea is winning. Where'd they finish last season? Third. Oh, that is a far cry from reality. Oh, I am a fan of Chelsea personally. I'm also a fan of Arsenal. So I mean, you know, heresy, kill whatever. I'm a terrible person. But we learned that earlier in this series. But Chelsea sitting in first place, looking like they're absolutely going to dominate. Arsenal not going to be able to defend their title as they're sitting all the way in fourth. But it's a solid fourth as fifth place with Tottenham, 35 points against Liverpool. It's rough. We'll see how this all plays out. Bristol City does not deserve to be in this division, and that's evident. Fulham and Villa are fighting for against relegation, all the way up through 15th with West Brom. Now, Newcastle is sitting in 14th with a negative goal difference, so there's a chance that we will beat them on morale. But all that'll do is maybe give us a shot at a draw, a real, legitimate shot at a draw against Newcastle. Very unlikely, but we'll see what happens. So there you have it, guy. I'm just failing all over. I'm recording this on Thanksgiving just after I had a huge feast with my family. Or not my family, my girlfriend's family. Anyways, so that's how all the leagues are working out, guys. If you want to see anything else, if anything is interesting to what you guys want to know about the game, just let me know. Put it in the comments below, and I will try to cover it in future episodes. As it stands, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Hopefully, we'll hold together. Our finances, I don't know why our finances still say okay. We've made a lot of money recently. We've made a lot of money recently, but we'll see how it goes in the future, guys. I will see you guys at the end of the season. If you liked the video, give it a like, subscribe, and share with your friends. Best thing to do for the channel. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time with some more Football Manager 2016 Rags to Riches. DFTBA.